Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the day you are watching this. Hope it finds you and does you well. Right now it's evening for me as I record this video. Um, I've been, how you say it, so focused recently with the current market actions, the community and everything like that, that there's so much information, and the information that there is that I want to share, that I'm going to share here, it I feel like it's going to be beneficial to everybody. It doesn't matter if you starting trader, beginner trader, intermediate trader, years of trade, a veteran trader as well. For me, the whole thing with trading is what works the best as far as simplicity goes, right? So for me, when it comes to that, is I want the market to work for me, not me work for the market. So in the sense of that, I have to find the easiest way to do that, right? So this the title of this specific video is going to be mostly based off of Keltner channels, support and resistances, and time frames. So I'm going to put everything into one. I'm going to make this not too long, not too short, just perfect to where it's very understanding, easy to understand, and make sure it'll make reading the market so much more easier. Because I know a lot of you have a lot of questions in regards to, okay, what do you mean by triggers? What do you mean by this? You have the leaf symbol. What does that mean? And when I put that leaf symbol with a price, that price is considered a trigger. And that trigger is usually a target, and that is that trigger is usually a reactive level. There's always going to be a reactive level. It's basically putting the time in to find those reactive levels. So basically what we got going on right here is NVIDIA. 4 is my lucky number. So what do? We're using the 4-day. I want to start there, but usually we actually want to start a little bit bigger. This is why I'm making it as basic as possible. I'm going to go through this slow. This is a 4-day chart. It's beautiful, right? Clean. I took everything off. So the basics start with support and resistances, right? But I'm going to skip all of that because I have a video on that basically breaks that down. We're going to jump right into it. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Keltner channels. Most of you are probably familiar with Bollinger Bands. But Keltner channels, I feel like they help you navigate price action in a more channel way. So instead of drawing your trend lines, I feel like you're using the Keltner channels, your SMAs, which is usually 20 SMA. I'll explain everything and break everything down as we go along. So let's get started. So here we're going to use a 4-day chart. I'm going to go to my studies. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add study. I can literally add what I already have. I have a couple of studies already here, but I want to get you guys into something that's going to just help you make this as super simple as possible. So you're going to go to studies. It depends on whatever platform you are on. You're going to go to Keltner channels. We're going to start there first. So you're going to go to K. I don't know if this shows on the screen itself, but if it doesn't, then next time I'm going to do a full screen as opposed to just TOS. So we're going to go to K for Keltner channels. Let's get there, all studies. Getting near. Where you on? Keltner, where are you? There we go. Keltner channels. So it's going to be standard. As you can see, each line is color coordinated, but that also represents lower Celt, middle Celt, upper Celt. Upper Celt is yellow, middle Celt is blue, lower Celt is red. Red, of course, down. Upper Celt, light color. Me, I do my usual red, lower, green, middle, which is also neutral, because now the price is in a neutral state. And then you have purple, which is upper Celt, because purple is my favorite color. Okay, so I'm gonna blow these candles up just a little bit bigger so we get a little bit much more of an understanding. And we're gonna break down this 4-day because what a 4-day is, you're like, oh, what does 4D mean? 4D is literally consists of 4 days all packed into one candle. Okay, so if you highlight this candle here, it shows 7:30. So this candle started 7:30. Okay, today's the first, yesterday the 31st, and then you have Tuesday, which was the 30th. So this started on Tuesday. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. This candle is ending tomorrow. The next candle starts August 5th. So we're going to dive more into it here now. So that's just me breaking down the 4D. Now we're going to get into Keltner channels. Just by looking at this already, we're going to edit everything here. We're going to right click, edit, because I got to change the colors. Everything is standard. I use simple average. You can do whatever you want. You can change it to exponential, weighted, Wilders, or whole. That's totally up to you. I'm sticking to simple, keeping it as simple. Prices at close. Show study factor is 1.5. Length is 20. That is always up to you. So I'm just going to change my colors. Average is always green. Lower band is already changed. Upper band is going to be purple. Supply that. Here you go. Now, this is your 4-day, right? The basics, and this is so simple, and it makes sense because I'm going to allow you to be in one time frame without having to go to the next one. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on key time frames. 4-day, 2-day. So instead of saying 4-day or 2-day, I'm just going to say 4D, 2D. And then you have the 1-day. Okay. Now, if you're looking for short-term scalps and stuff like that, where you're just doing intraday scalping, then you will start from the daily. Then actually, you'll start from the 4-hour, 2-hour, 30-minute, and then 15 minutes. You're gonna apply this same rule that I'm teaching you from bigger time frames. You're gonna apply those to the smaller time frames, similar, and you're gonna see a pattern, and it's gonna make reading charts so much easier without going through. Oh, I got, you have the guys with 6 screens, 7 screens, 8 screens. Me, it's either my laptop or my phone. Majority of the time, it's my phone or my phone with my laptop, which I'm putting the trades in on my phone, but I'm charting on my laptop, or I'm doing everything on my phone and my iPad. So it's vice versa. Okay, so first thing we're going to do here is we're going to mark our Keltner channels with actual levels. Okay, we're going to mark these points. Here we are. This Keltner is showing here. So that's the price level. So what we're going to do is create this price level, literally where that Kelt is at. We can make it solid because the Kelt is solid. So let's make it a solid line. Let's change it to that color red. We're going to call this, we're going to name this 4D LK. So that's 4D for lower Kelt. Okay. However you want to put it and however you want it to show. So you can see it here to the right, it's showing 92.92, which is actually 93.39, but it doesn't have to be exactly on it. It's just a placement. So when you change from 4D, let's say we're going to go to the 2D. This is what happens as we go down the timelines. But you're going to see what I'm showing you, how everything just connects. Okay. So let's go back. Focus this, bring this in. Let's pinch the screen a little bit just so it's much easier. There we go. Now we're going to duplicate this level, but we're also going to rename it. You can either start with another level, a fresh one. I'm just going to rename it, change colors. We're going to rename it to middle Kelt. So we're going to put an M instead of an L. We're going to change the color to green and apply. We're going to do the same thing for the upper Kelt. Duplicate. We're going to push this to the top. I should have actually started on the weekly. The weekly actually would be the best thing to start on, but we can go backward. We can go from 4D to 2D and then back to weekly just to give you some more insight. So you can just see how it lines up going backwards versus forwards. So 4D to weekly is going backwards. 4D to 2D is going forward to shorter time frames versus going backwards to bigger time frames. Change this color, purple. And as we go on, you're going to see exactly what I am doing here. We're going to rename that uppercut. Why it's going to be named? Because we need to know what is going on with price on the next. So if we're not on the 4-day chart, which you don't have to be, let's go to the weekly real quick, right? You're going to see some things happen. Okay, so this is the weekly. And our 4D lines are there. Our lower Celt, middle Celt, and upper Celt are there. The first thing you notice, this is why I said I should have started with the 4-day, with the weekly first, actually monthly, weekly to 4-day. So you get the bigger time frames, which is very key. Another thing we don't like is too many lines on the time frames or on your charts, right? So this is going to simplify that. It might just give you nothing but lines, but you can make it to a point where it doesn't have to fully be extended. You can also dot them if you want, so it's not taking too much. So if I want to make sure, like, okay, all the big time frames from 2D to 4D and up, going to weekly to monthly to quarterly to yearly to option expiration. That's another chart. It's another one of my favorite charts. Um, Going that route, then you'll see basically what's going on. Give me one second. I'm sorry. It's tea time. Sorry about that. But as you can see from the weekly to the 4D, they're not that far off from each other. We're not even going to label the weekly. We don't even have to do that. We can just leave it like this because they're just about, what we'll do is every week we'll just check in on the 4D and weekly and see if there's any great change or any minimal change with the levels. If these are that close, there's nothing for me to do here. So let's go back. Let's go forwards. So from we're on this is the weekly. Okay. So let's go to the monthly. I'm still trying to give you guys just some insight, just see what I'm trying to do here. It's going to make sense how we go along because we're going to just focus on one chart. There is no way here, shape or form, this is close, right? Now, what I'm going to do is duplicate all of these, but I'm actually going to label it monthly. There's no need for me to change on the weekly because the weekly is literally similar to the 4D. So we're going to duplicate this, bring that down here, edit it, change it to, now this is going to be M for monthly. That's it. Do a dash if you want, however you want to do it, right? I'm going to duplicate this, bring this down. Edit that. We're going to put that M there because that's a monthly with a dash. And we know it's a monthly middle Celt. Then we're going to duplicate the upper Celt here. Perfect. Edit, same thing. Change it to M. You can see all the way to the right what it's labeled as with a dash. There you go, right? Now let's go back. Now we're going to go from 4D to 2D, okay? We're going to go down. You can go 3D as well. 3D is another one of my favorites. So here we are. Now, there's a big difference here, as you can see. So since this is the monthly, I want to actually change these to, I can change the thickness to show, actually, let's make it timeout wider. Okay, so let's edit that. Put it at a 2 width. Thicker lines, even though it says exactly what it is. So we put it at the lines at a 2s, deeper, thinner here on the 4D versus the monthly, right? Now we are at the 2D. What do you notice here? On the 2D, the 2D lower Celt lines up with the 4D middle Celt. What we're going to do, we're going to do the exact same thing, duplicate, edit that. We're going to change this to 2D. This is the lower Celt. So my other thing here, let me see if I can edit. Let me just edit these real quick. I want to see if I can actually get one a little further than the other. Let me just see if I can create a space. Sorry. I'm gonna see if this will just fix anything. Nah, there's a cap. Okay, maybe right here. Let me see. Nah, that didn't really do much. So actually what I can do is this. I'm gonna change it, show name on the left instead. All right, there you go. Price doesn't have to be shown for that one as well, but as you can see, 2D lower Kel, and then you have 4D middle Kel. That's all we need to worry about. Price level, it shows it there. So they're about the same, right? So we're gonna basically duplicate. Oops. Hold on. Green. Let me just make sure everything is right. Red, green. Okay. So that's 4D middle Kel green with the red 2D Kel. So you can dash that if you want. Let's dash it so it doesn't, so it kind of pop. There it is. That works. Since it's overlapping, we want it to stand out. So now we're gonna duplicate this. Oops. We're duplicating the 4D, right? Is that the 4D is the middle Kel. So we're gonna duplicate that. We're gonna slide that up there. Edit properties, dash it. This is 2D. That's the middle Kel. It's already there. All you gotta do is just change the name. We're gonna change this. So this is the 2D. We're gonna have 2D to the left. There we go. So you can see it there. It's 2D middle Kel. And then we're gonna duplicate this one as well, this upper Kel, the 4D upper Kel, and we're gonna move it up. Lines up, change that to 2D as well. We're gonna give that dash as well. There you go. Now, the part about this, let me actually change this over here. This is supposed to be on the left, not on the right. There we go, much better. You're gonna see what's going on with this once we are done. This is the 2D, right? Now we're gonna go to the daily. What this is doing is giving you price points, levels from bigger charts, so you don't have to go all the way back. So let's go to the most important. Let's go back to our 4-day where we started with, right? This is our 4-day. The most important thing that stands out here is the middle Kel. The middle Kel is the most important thing here. So it's always, Dad, why is that price focusing at that level there? Is it because there's a lot of support and resistance? What can it be? So with the Celts, it's letting you know it's a couple of different things on different time frames. So the 2D, this is the lower Celt, hence why the price is still where it's at. Also, the middle Celt and the 4D, which is very important. And you guys know my whole saying when it comes to trading Celts. Once price closes below and under the middle Celt, your target is always the lower Celt. Once under the lower Celt or be at the lower Celt or below, that's when you start building a long position, all depending on the time frame. Like for example, you can see the all-time high was 140.76 post split, right? And it peaked and then it came back under inside of the upper Kel, rejected, and came down to the lower Kel. And if that continues to reject, and if we lose this 4D middle Kel slash 2D lower Kel, which is more important than the 4D, see, so the 4D is stronger than the 2D, but the 2D is going to give you that, okay, so if we're closing under the 2D lower Kel, we're going to now be stuck under that lower Kel, and that means the trend is starting to go down. But if we hold this 2D lower Kel, then we have a chance to reverse and head right back to the upper Kel. So we go back to the 2D, right? The 2-day. There we go. Now, 2-day, we already know where we are, right? Lower Kel is where the 4D middle Kel is at. Hence, price is building here. We got a couple of gaps, but we're not even focusing on the gaps right now. We're just focusing on Keltner channels. Now we're going to go to the daily because we want to have our price points for our daily as well. Another thing, you don't even have to overlap if you don't want to, but it's not a bad thing. So the 2D and the daily have the same. It's like the 4D and the weekly have the exact same levels lined up. The 2D and the daily are similar in a sense. Not that much off if you look at it. Okay, so we're going to duplicate the 2D again. And we're going to turn that into a daily. It's just going to be a pause D. Okay, so D for lower Kel. Solid already, so we can keep that. We can just extend it Oh, I thought I duplicated it. Activate. Let's just bring this over. I'm going to have to duplicate this again and edit. Let's just change it to back to, it was 2-day. Okay, lower Kel with the dash. All right, now this, we can actually bring this over. Perfect. And then I can bring this over so that it just lines up here, which we know it line. This is it. Perfect. And 4D is over there, so that works perfect. This is the daily versus the 2D. So this is very important. Where we closed under it, but we got to see what happens going on tomorrow versus Monday and Tuesday. Now, the thing here is we get under this middle Celt versus the daily and 2D lower Celt. That's very important to watch for. Now that means trend will be trending down. If you want to add your trend line, you can do that as well to simplify it. But like I said, I want to give you guys the most basic way of understanding price reading and how to make it so simple without those crazy terms that everybody uses. You know, I want average regular people that don't know anything about the market to be able to dive into the market with simple understandings of reading price and levels using strictly Keltner channels with different time frames, of course. See, so here you go. Gave you like a little trend line to make things so much better. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate this because there's another trend line that can be drawn, and that's from here to here. Then we can move this up off that low. Bingo. This gives you an idea. So we're trending down. I want to go down one more time frame. We're gonna go to the 4-hour. Now, as you can see, when we go to the 4-hour, everything changes. That 4-hour is very important. If we do not close above the daily lower count, the 2D lower count, I mean, we don't have to focus on the 4-hour lower count because the 4-hour lower count is below or 3. Let's move these trend lines out the way. But I mean, trend lines actually do help with direction as well and guidance. Let's get rid of these. Let's focus on what we are here to focus on. Now, that's just that for the bigger picture. So if you're the type to buy time, this is the best method to go. I'm going to jump right back to the weekly. Now, here's the weekly. As you can see, this is your weekly. Weekly literally lines up in a sense. The weekly upper count is the actual 2D middle count. Interesting. Weekly middle count is actually just a little bit lower than that. So since that was a support area that we have bounced off 2 times, this is a significant, a very important level to actually put. So since we're going to use, I can't even do it thick with this one as well. Actually, we can actually do thick on this one. So let's duplicate this monthly. We're going to bring it up to this count here, the middle count on the weekly. We're going to edit that. Weekly middle count, call that a W. This one, since it's a count, we're going to do that. Same thing we're going to do with here, duplicate. I'm going to bring you up here, edit that. Weekly as well. I'm going to make sure I put weekly on the other one as well, just to double check. Change that up. There we go. I want that to the, we can actually keep all the bigger time frames to the right, all the smaller time frames to the left. All right, so we got that weekly middle count. We got weekly lower count. Okay, so that's already set. Your main focus right now is this weekly count. We are currently focused in between the 4D middle count with the 2D middle count plus the daily. No, that's the daily and 2D lower count paired with the 4D middle count. Supported by the weekly middle count, which we have here. Now, if you want to go into shorter time frames, it works the same way. Like I said, you can start from the daily if you want. For me, let's say if you're doing scalping on a day, you can start from the 30-minute, right? So this is your 30-minute chart, right? Your counts are different here. Your Celts are so much different. It's just more short term as opposed to a long term in a sense. But you still have your bigger time frames, Keltner channel levels to go off of. So keep that in mind, right? So that's time frame with Keltner channels. Support and resistances are your Keltner channels. That's what you are using to help you navigate. Look at these levels that I'm using, right? There's no support or resistance levels drawn just based off of chart and candles where, let's say, okay, all right, well, I'm going to find some support at. I'm just going to draw a regular price level for support here. Bingo. This is a nice support, right? But we don't need to do that because the Keltner channels are doing that for us. We're just marking every single point on those Keltner channels. Let's go back over, bring it back. And as you can see going forward, these are all the levels you have to focus on. 2D middle Celt, we are below that. 4D middle Celt, daily lower Celt, 2D lower Celt, below that. If we get back over this 4D middle Celt, which is also the lower Celt on this 30-minute chart, you can see a potential reversal targeting that middle Celt. Keep that in mind. So that was just a simple, basic video guiding you on how to use Keltner channels effectively so you can just stay in one time frame. And that's all. I can be on this 30-minute time frame all day tomorrow. But me, I like to watch the ticks. So if I'm scalping XPX, I'm on a 5-minute. This is me on a 5-minute and the beginning of the day with a 30-minute chart. Just look at everything. Look at this. This is the 30-minute, right? Let's go to the 2-hour. Everything is still effective. And you might get lower Celt, upper Celt, or middle Celt pairing with your other Celts. Look at this. This lower Celt in the 2-hour lines up with the weekly middle Celt. Makes sense why that weekly middle Celt was important where it bounced off at. Closed below it. And then what? We gapped above it. Now we're holding that level. Now we have to get above this daily lower Celt with the 2D lower Celt and the 4D middle Celt. It's going to be very important going forward. So try this with any other chart. You can do this with any chart. It doesn't really matter. And just go back and see how it works. It's very effective for scalping, short, long. I do this every day. It makes it simple to a point where you don't even need to create levels. You can just go from, if you want to, if it's simple, just going from, okay, let me go to the 4-hour, the lower Celt changes. But if your memory is like mine's and you just remember it like off the back, it's like, oh, I remember. This is what, or this is where the upper Celt was on the 2D, and this is where the lower Celt is on the 4D. Okay, so it makes sense. I see why price is here. So keep that in mind. Thank you guys for watching. I didn't want to make this, like I said, I didn't want to make it video too long. I want it to be something simple and understanding. Drop a comment, drop a like, share, subscribe. If it helps you, please, you already know, drop a hashtag SBTP under this video.